You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth's he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Do you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
You're probably a bit confused right now. I broke the glass. It's all come back to me.
What is this?
That's my ship.
What?
Let me take it from the top. Hello, I'm the Doctor. I'm a traveller in space and time. And that thing buried down there is called a TARDIS. Time and relative dimension in space. You're gonna love this.
Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of Earth Station Who. That's right, folks. We are back, and we are going to be looking at the newly released Galaxy 4 featuring the First Doctor. It's going to be an interesting story. You know, I like how we said newly released, but this episode actually, a storyline came out in 1965. I think it's older than most of us on the show, and I think it's pretty cool to be able to finally watch this in its entirety, because this was one that had only a couple scenes available, and you know, it wasn't all that, you know, and all well known and everything. And so this was one of those that we thought were completely lost, and it was real interesting to watch and be able to see the story. And, you know, it's basic Doctor Who that we're so familiar with over the years and everything. And it's going to be really fun to talk all about it. And we have a great crew here to talk with us tonight. Joining us, of course, Mr. Matt Sweatman is returning to the show. Welcome, sir.
Hello, fellow Who nerds.
Have did you know anything about this before it came out on DVD or Blu-ray, or have you read the novelizations, or nothing?
All of the above. I had a watch through of Who, and I'd watched recreations of pretty much every story. I had the audio, just the audio track with some narration of the scenes too. So I was pretty familiar with the story.
Oh, that's cool. So it totally makes sense why when I put the call out for people, you're like, me. You were like, so that is awesome. And I'm glad to have you here, my friend. And of course, we have our regulars with us. Of course, let's say howdy to Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And Ms. Mary Ogle is joining us back.
Hey, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
Yep. And folks, this is going to be a fun one. And if you haven't seen it yet, we are going to spoil a episode that is, 57 years old?
So, as you said, it was just released a few months ago.
Yes. So we're going to be talking all about it, though. So definitely, be prepared. And, of course, we'd love to hear from you guys at home. Feedback at earthstationwho.com. We definitely would like to know what you guys thought about this one. Did you guys enjoy it? You got to see the First Doctor, but you also got to see Stephen and Vicky with the Doctor. And, it's really sad that Stephen didn't sing in this one. But, not like in the Gunfighters, but,
Oh, mercies.
I know. Darn. I could tell you're heartbroken on that one. So it's going to be interesting to talk all about. And please, if you haven't subscribed to our show, please do. We would love to get you to, listen to all our older shows. And, we're up on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, wherever you can find podcasts. Earth Station Who is there. And we are a proud member also of the ESO Network. So feel free to look up all our other shows too. We got a couple different Doctor Who shows and some general geekiness on Earth Station 1 and all the other shows. So definitely check us out, please. We would really appreciate it. All right, folks. Doctor Who news. There's actually been some Doctor Who news, since last time we talked to you guys. I know when we did, our live episode probably about a month ago now, we hadn't been informed yet, but it was announced that Rachel Talalay was announced as the Doctor for the 60th anniversary special.
The director, yes.
Yes.
Very good.
And I think she's well worth it. She's amazing. I like her experience with Doctor Who and also other shows that she's done. And I can actually say we've actually met her. So it's pretty darn awesome. And so it's pretty cool when, you actually, get to see someone like this succeed and everything. But I think, Mary, you told me right before we started that they announced that she has COVID.
Yes, she tweeted out that she has COVID, but they have not shut down production. She is directing remotely.
Oh, wow. So she's like a Max Headroom thing. There's a little box right there. No, get over there. We need you to over this part.
I mean,
cut. So.
She said she knew of at least 4 other productions right now that were directing remotely. She said it's become a lot more common than it used to be since the pandemic.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm totally sure. And, I hope she has a quick recovery and hopefully she's vaccinated and able to, not have the full effects. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
So
I am very excited that she is returning to Doctor Who. She has been a great director of some of the best episodes of the New Who, as well as she's done a lot of great TV in the meantime. And I think having her back just it makes me feel very happy.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the best directors the New Who has had, and I'm so looking forward to this episode.
And she loves Doctor Who. That's the other thing. It's not like I think she was actively sad that she was not asked to be on during Jodie's run.
Yep. It's actually, she would have been great with Jodie. I really think she would have been.
I think they missed a huge opportunity there.
Yes.
But she would have been saddled with some of those Chibnall scripts too, though.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. You have to take it as bad.
If anyone could make it at least passable, it would have been Rachel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think, truthfully, I'm glad she's here for the 60th. And we a lot of times don't talk about rumors and such, but this one I think is going to have a little bit of fact because we were talking about it when we did. Again, going back to the live episode we did a month ago, we were talking about what Jodie's regeneration is going to be taking place in October, and then they weren't going to be doing anything until the 60th anniversary, which is like almost 13 months later. And we thought that was kind of weird, kind of odd, especially with the new Doctor coming on board. But they've come out, rumor-wise, if the BBC has not officially come out and said that there's probably going to be 3 60th anniversary specials.
I so hope that is true. Please let that be true.
Yes. So.
It would have felt so wrong not to have some sort of holiday special, whether it's Christmas or New Year's.
Exactly. And I think...
Yeah, they haven't missed a single New Year's or Christmas, one or the other, any year since the Christmas invasion.
Wow. So, yeah, I definitely think, knock on wood, kind of woodish on my desk, but, we will get, the 3 specials and, it'd be kind of interesting each special having maybe a different past Doctor involved with it or something. Maybe not having them all team up like they did with the 50th or the 3 Doctors or other things, but, have maybe multi-Doctor stories each one. So it's interesting, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And so with that being said, we also got some news that this is fact, that Neil Patrick Harris is going to be on Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be pretty extraordinary, actually.
And they've already released a picture of him in costume. It looks very sort of celestial toy maker-ish.
Yes. So interesting that you got this news that, a fairly big celebrity, an American celebrity on top of it, is going to be involved with the 60th anniversary. So I think it's pretty cool.
I have to admit, when I first heard the news, I had to check the calendar, be sure it wasn't April 1st, because it had a April Fool's Day feel to it when I first saw it.
Weird. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. When I first saw the posting, I thought, oh, please, it's just another rumor. And then it started popping up on different sites, and it was like, oh, there's some validity to this one. So,
yep.
I'm hoping it's going to be interesting to see what we get. I know that the fans are speculating what, if he's the master or whatever. And it's really too early to see, to even guess who he's going to be. But as far as the last time I saw Neil Patrick Harris was in the Matrix Resurrections, I was not really impressed with his performance in that. But then again, I wasn't impressed with that whole movie. So I don't know if it's just associated with him. I've heard he's very good in It's a Sin, which was, of course, show run by Russell T Davies. And I've heard good things about that. So I know he's capable of really good work. So I just, if he's going to bring the Dr. Horrible to Doctor Who, that would be very interesting as well.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because, you had Dr. Horrible. You also have him in How I Met Your Mother, and, shows like that, and he's also been doing Broadway, and he's done, all these different projects. I think he brings a huge wealth in it. I just think, with The Matrix, I don't think anything could have saved that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that had a lot to do with the script and just the movie itself, his performance. There wasn't a whole lot he could do with that, what he was given.
So, yeah, it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very interested to see where it goes and everything, and have fun with it. And, there's other rumors that are, being hinted at. RTD has been posting like very cryptic messages on his Twitter account, and, so it's going to be very interesting to see what's coming next. And, we're not going to talk about these rumors because it's other doctors and such, but until it's confirmed, and, they'll probably just confirm it as soon as we hit stop record. So, that's pretty normal on this show.
Let me just ask you guys real quick, since the speculation is already out there that he may be playing the master, would you guys be comfortable with that?
I don't want to see him as the master.
I'd rather not.
I wouldn't mind seeing him as the meddling monk or the celestial toy maker or another well-known character, but I don't want to see him as the master. I wouldn't want an original master if we see one, and not an actor we know, because especially with someone like him, he's not going to be ongoing. He's not going to be he's not going to be, throughout the new Doctor series and everything. I would want to see somebody who's the master who's going to be a little bit longer than just, 3 episodes.
I regardless of whether or not he would make a good master or whatever, I did think that it would be really, we talked about Doctor Regeneration scenes and everything, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if somehow the Doctor and the Master were together and died and regenerated at the same time? Like, that would be pretty amazing to see. I'm not saying that that's going to happen this time, or I don't think it's likely to, but I just think that would be a really cool thing to see at some point.
Well, also the trends currently have to do with multiverses and such, and that has some of the rumors involved here too. So he could be in the universe where there's an American Doctor or American Master or something like that.
True. That's true.
Or what do they call that on that sitcom had a doctor
Professor Time and Space,
something like that. Yeah.
Yes, it was from Community.
Yes.
So yeah, it was.
I hope they don't go crazy with that sort of thing.
No,
I don't want to see all these doctors all of a sudden and that. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Until I see it, it's hard to judge. But the idea of it is not something that appeals to me.
It's interesting, and I would love to, to see him, play a bigger role, but do I expect that? No. I expect him there for the anniversary specials, and that's it.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's probably just going to be a one-off character.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So if it's the Celestial Toymaker again, sure, that would be awesome. Yeah. And if not, you know what? So what?
Not that it's set in stone, but the IMDb has it listed as an episode, season 14, episode 1, and that's it. So, but I mean that's not obviously that's not something that can change. I mean, it can change at any time. So, but it is interesting how that's already listed on there.
Exactly. So it's pretty cool. Other news going out: the Renegade Doctor issue 1 is now out on the stands. So we get the Ruth Doctor in comic book form. And I have my copy, and very, very fun issue. And if you get a chance to pick it up, the fine folks at Titan have, done it again. And they are doing some great stuff with Doctor Who. I have not picked up one of their titles probably about a year or two. And, I like what they did with Jodie. I loved the Third Doctor stories they did. And also, what they did with the 8th Doctor, and also, a lot of the other characters too, 10th and 11 and 12. So it's cool.
Yeah, but they've been steadily putting Doctor Who comics out for a while now, and it's pretty interesting. I haven't gotten that yet. I'm sort of waiting for the trade, but as well as I am for the Missy story series that they did. But they usually do a pretty good job, and I'll be really curious to see. I doubt this sort of answers any questions about what her role is in the Doctor Who universe, but I'd be curious to see if there's any sort of hints at all.
Oh, exactly. No, they purposely left that kind of stuff out. And, I think they have to remain kind of, ambiguous with it. So we'll see where the story goes. I think it's only supposed to be 4 or 5 issues. So I'll be very curious to see. And, if anyone else has picked it up, I would love to hear what you guys thought. Definitely, drop us a line, as we like to say. Feedback at earthstationwho.com. All right, kids, let's take a quick break, and we will be back with Galaxy 4.
This Labor Day weekend, fandom is calling. Let Michael, Mike, Darren, and Jen help you answer the call with the latest news, notes, tips, and tricks on the DragonCon Report. Available as an audio podcast, visit DragonConReport.com, and for the first time ever, watch us on video via Facebook Live and YouTube. We want to help you celebrate your fandom in all the best ways. So listen up, and we'll see you at the con.
Now let's go back to the year 1965, from September 11th till the 2nd of October. And we are looking at Galaxy 4. We're looking at the first Doctor, William Hartnell, and we are looking at, like we said, companions Vicky and Stephen. And interesting, obviously I had read the books, the Target novelizations years ago when I was in probably high school. And it was interesting, but it wasn't memorable. And now watching this, I now realize why it wasn't so memorable.
Was the book written by the same person?
I think it might have been Terrence Dicks.
Terrence Dicks did write a lot of them.
Yes, he did. Actually, it was written by William Ems.
That's the same guy who wrote the script.
Yeah, and it was published in 1985. So yeah, my year I graduated. So yeah, so it was interesting.
You couldn't make it any better in the book.
No. Actually, I have some interesting thoughts on this one. It seems, it's become a trope, when the Doctor gets to a planet, he's, he feels like, he meets aliens and they end up being the wrong people to meet, basically. And, he ends up siding with the ones he thought were the bad guys and who end up being the good guys and everything with this. And I think this is probably one of the first they do something like that. But we've seen it many, many times since on the show.
I know there's a Twilight Zone episode that's called Beauty is in the Eye of the Beholder. That's a similar trope, and it's frankly much better done than it is here. Yeah.
The characters in this one are kind of like, because you think the Chumbleys, you wonder, are they going to be like the Daleks or something, or trying to...
They're trying. They're trying to make some dialects.
Yeah, they're more like BB-8.
Yeah,
they're trying, but I don't know if it was the animation. I saw some pictures online of what they look like in real life, and I mean, it looks, ever since Terry Nation and Doctor Who and the BBC had that hit with the Daleks, they tried several times to come up with something that was just as marketable, just as cool, and this looks like one more example of that.
Yeah, well, these robots, the Chumbleys looked like, robots that looked like those collapsible camping cups that you used to get.
And it's really not clear whether they're alive or not. At some point, they think you think they're just machines, but then they say and do things that make it seem like they have life in them. So it's very strange how they're treated as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're sacrificed left and right in this one. And so it was real interesting to be able to see that. And it was interesting. The Draven was, the other race, which was the clone army. And they were doing the same thing, though. They were sacrificing the clones, they don't have any rights. They don't have anything. They were just raised in test tubes. It's like,
and nobody cared about the secondary characters.
Yeah, exactly. And
they were just cannon fodder.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, Maga, she says they are not cloned to the level that I am. While I am a person, they are not. So she pretty boldly. I know, exactly.
And, she wasn't any prize either. So, and it was interesting. It was just like, and they were one of the worst, like mustache twirling villains. She was like, stay here. We're going to, break into that other spaceship. Yes, they offered to take us with us, but we want that spaceship. And it was just like, really? Can't you all just get along? Just to get off this planet,
I thought it was, what's her name? Is her name Maga, right?
Maga.
I guess, I don't know if it was the name or just her attitude or whatever. I think both, But I was like, wow, this is what it would be like if Marjorie Taylor Greene had a spaceship.
Yes, very much so.
I'm like, this is exactly what would it be like, except, of course, because she does everything that's just... She's talking about how evil things are, and she's talking about these crazy conspiracies and all this kind of stuff, and you can't take her at her word, and she's killing her own just to get what she wants, and it just is like, wow, this is pretty futuristic because how could he have predicted that someone like this would be in office at some point later on in the world? But I just was like, wow. The biggest shock to me was that they all just let her die at the end. I go like, wow, that's like...
they just walk away.
If literally.
This was American TV, like, that doesn't happen. Like, all of them, both races, both Doctor and the other race say, like, we don't kill. We do not kill. We're very sympathetic. We're very compassionate. We help people. And both of them decide, we're just going to leave her.
It's like, this is you finally crossed the line.
Exactly. They're like, nope, we're just going to leave. And I thought that was pretty amazing, actually. I was like, wow, good for you guys, because that's all you could do with someone like this.
Well, no, exactly. There was no redemption for this person.
Oh no,
no, and it was kind of cold, when they showed the TARDIS taking off at the end. And it just fading away, and she's like just standing there, and the clones are falling into the cracks, into the lava and everything. And then you just see her fall, and it's just like, oh, geez, I don't think I've ever seen that on Doctor Who, especially in that era.
Yeah, I don't recall. I mean, I know that the Doctor has done some things that are like, well, but this is the first. I mean, as grumpy and as bad tempered as sometimes the first Doctor can be. I mean, he usually does I don't want to say the right thing. In this case, I don't know. Maybe the right thing. It's hard to argue.
The right
just leave her. Just leave her. Like, there's no point. I mean, yeah, sure, we could take her with us, but nah, we're not. We don't have room for that.
I mean, and she has chance after chance after chance to change her
there's
tune.
Nothing
and she
redeeming
never does.
Well, you know what the 10th Doctor says? The 10th Doctor says no second chances.
Yeah.
I guess this is where he gets that from, basically. He gave her 3 or 4 chances in this one.
Yeah, and she just keeps escalating and making things worse.
Oh, exactly. And, even to the part where, she was going to, let Stephen suffocate in the airlock. And
that was really dark. Really dark.
Yep. Well, she said she wasn't gonna. She didn't want him dead. So I guess she was just waiting
because she wanted him as a hostage.
Right. So she wasn't. I don't think she was going to kill him or let him die. I think she was just waiting until
she was torturing him, basically.
Oh well, yeah. She's not beyond that. No. I mean, like I said, she killed one of her own. Her own is like laying there, like after the wreck, and like help me, and she just comes up and at least in animated form, she just kills her in the back. Like she shoots her right in the back. I was like, man, that is cold. I was like, she's one of the like most reprehensible characters I've ever seen on Doctor Who, actually.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And there was nothing likable about her and it's interesting that, when you had the good guys, who were of course the Chumbleys and, the other characters, the real, exactly. And, it made total sense. And even they weren't completely in the white, if you go white, black, and gray, they had some gray to it. They were a little bit more, they were more moral than, of course, anything else. And
not a hard thing to do. Like,
yeah,
not a hard bar to be raised above.
But let me ask you this: where did they get the title Galaxy 4 from?
Well, they do say that's where they're from,
right?
So I mean, that's
I don't think there was any deeper meaning.
Yeah. I think Planet of the Chumbleys just didn't sound right. Like it's just like Day of the Chumbleys, like
Night of the Chumbleys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Return of the Living Chumbleys or something.
Just like if they were really trying to make something that was marketable, like the Daleks or another monster that they could reuse over and over again, man, they really messed up, because naming them Chumbleys was. I was very strange on how they got that name, because at first I thought she said Chumley, and I was like, wow, that feels kind of like fat shaming a little bit, because the only thing I could find in reference to Chumley is the walrus that was in Tennessee Tuxedo, and they are kind of walrus shaped, and I was like, well, maybe that's what they were going for, but they didn't say Chumley because they were afraid of copyright things or something. I don't know. It just was really weird. I don't think I looked it up, and I can't find anything where Chumley is actually defined anywhere. So they just kind of made it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, well, Vicky says they're like Chumbleys, and she does this sort of little
little waddle type thing. Yeah.
But like what is that? Like I was like, what? She says they're like Chumbleys. I'm like, well, what is a Chumbley?
I wondered if it was referencing some British kids program or something, but I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything either. And like I said, I thought immediately, and they do are kind of walrus shaped. So I did sort of see that they, were kind of like, they might have pulled that from that. Maybe she misspoke, or maybe, like I said, they just changed it because they didn't want to mess with copyrights or whatever. But I didn't.
Yeah, and you could tell Maga was not a good scientist, or not. It wasn't that advanced of a race, because their spaceship was pretty, even though it had crashed, it looked very ancient compared, when the doctor and the crew came on, it's like this thing is like decrepit, type thing.
Yeah. And then she didn't really seem to know at all how to repair it.
No, not at all. But also, she was a horrible scientist, because she thought the planet still had 14 cycles. And the doctor says, no, 2.
Well, to be fair, the other race thought there was 14 as well.
Yeah, I think the real actually told
and they were the ones who told her that. So, everybody got it wrong. I don't know whether they just, 3 suns, man, it must have been about as hot as it was in Georgia today.
Oh, Lord.
Because good Lord, I was like sweating watching it this afternoon, and I was thinking, man, I feel you. I feel the 3 suns on me. So I did kind of like, I could see that, certainly it wasn't really hidden very well. It's kind of like in your face, but it's like the whole thing about like, don't judge a character based on their looks, beauty, versus, ugliness, or whatever you want to, however you define that, like if something doesn't look right, don't assume it's already like it's evil. I think that really sort of played out pretty well. Like I said, it was a little bit over the top, but I did kind of like at least the message that they were sending there. Like, don't judge a book by its cover, really.
Yeah, the real word, they were even afraid to show themselves at all, afraid of being judged.
Because they were like, even the doctor who they got to know, they were like, we don't want you to see us because you'll change your mind. Because everybody who looks at us thinks, oh my God, you guys are evil, because of the way you look. I haven't seen any pictures of them, so I really am curious as to how they looked in real life.
It's really too bad we don't. There is one existing episode 3.
Yes.
And I did go and watch it. And actually, the real are pretty well done. Mm-hmm. They look sort of Jabba the Hutt-ish.
Yes. It's interesting, too, because you had the option on the DVD and to be able to watch it all animated, with episode 3 being the live version. And to watch it that way.
Did you watch it that way?
No, I watched it all in animation. But I did go back afterwards to watch the existing footage.
Gotcha.
And everything. So I was able to do that. And it was also interesting, too, because, I watched it in black and white. You had the option to do it in color or black and white in the animated versions.
Yeah, I watched it on Amazon, and they show it in color, but I turned the color down on my TV because I tried. For about 5 minutes, I was watching in color, and I'm like, I just can't do this. Like, I can't, like, watching the first and second Doctor in color.
It's very weird.
I can't. And I know why they do it and why they have it in color, because a lot of people, will be more attracted to watch it in color, really. Studies show that, like, certainly younger generations prefer color to black and white. If it's black and white, they're like, no, you can't watch that. It's old, whatever. But yeah, I've watched too many Doctor Who first and second stories to be like, if it's in color, I can't, this just doesn't. And I will say that the animation held up in black and white. I was more than happy to watch it in black and white.
The Doctor looked kind of
better
weird.
in black and white.
Hartnell looked kind of weird. It looked like he had like
it looked like he lost a few pounds.
Yeah, well, exactly. He looked actually fit.
They never animate the figures that well.
No, I thought actually all the women looked kind of bottom heavy. Like, I just was kind of like, that's
the weird. Animator had a fetish, and it was okay.
maybe.
They had one character body model for the drop-ins, and that just got used for every one of them.
It's back in the 1950s and 60s when they drew Betty and Veronica, they just changed the heads,
Actually, if you watch the live version, the production values for the time period are not bad. Not bad. They're really not. I mean, there's an obvious painted backdrop to the planet. It's really obvious. But the Chumbleys and the Rill are actually done pretty well.
Which is pretty cool. So, yeah, it was, I enjoyed it. Was it the best? No. But it was enjoyable. I was glad it was only a 4-parter.
It still felt too drawn out for 4 episodes.
I actually thought it was pretty bad, honestly.
Yeah, I can't.
How many times could they go back and forth between the 2 ships?
Yes.
And
everything. So it wasn't too bad. And I did like, how it, ended and went into Mission of the Unknown, too.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
That was my favorite part of the whole thing was the last couple of minutes. And now it makes me wish that I know there's some questions about whether the animations will continue, but it makes me really want the Dalek Master Plan with the Mission to the Unknown episode animated, like really.
Oh, very much so. We got lucky, though, because we reviewed probably, about 2 years ago now, guys, the Mission of to the Unknown that the college students
and they did a really good job, too.
They did. Yeah. They did. They should. I don't know. That's not officially released at all, is it?
No.
I don't think so.
It should be.
It was just basically a labor of love for them to do it.
Oh, but it was awesome. But you can find it on YouTube. And if you get a chance, folks, check it out. It is amazing to think that these are college students. And because it's the only Doctor Who of the old series that was a 1-parter.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. Well, it could have been like a prologue to the Dalek Master Plan.
Yeah, it really sort of was.
Wait, wasn't Edge of Destruction 1 part?
No, 2 episodes.
2.
That's 2? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will tell you, watching this and realizing that we have seen, I've seen, because we reviewed both the episode before this and the story after this. I was hard pressed to remember Vicky and Steven at all. I'm like, and they do absolutely nothing for me. I guess they're used okay in this, but they don't. As far as companions go, they're not horrible. They're just so forgettable.
Yeah, they're just kind of there.
Yeah,
I think they're much better. I hope we get a good version of the Myth Makers. I think they're much better in that. And I liked them in the Time Meddler, too, the last one from the previous season. I think they're much better in those 2 stories.
Yeah, that was a good one because we reviewed that a couple of years ago already. It was awesome.
I am just so baffled by how these BBC, Big Finish, the company that does the animation, like figure out which ones to animate. Because I'm like, there are still quite a number of missing stories. And I'm like, why did you guys do this one next? Like, I was like, there's so many that people are really, really wanting to see. Marco Polo, for example, Celestial Toymaker is another one. I mean, there's ones that people really want to see. Then there's other things like the Daleks Master Plan and Myth Makers and everything like that sort of have a reputation as well. And I'm like, why this one? Because it just seems like this one is not very, like, I don't know. I'm just confused why they would pick to do this one. Spend all the time, money, and energy on this one.
I have a theory about that. There's only a couple of locations. There's limited characters. The Chumbleys are kind of geometric shaped, easy to. So the animation is simple. I think it was just it was an easy one to do. And I think honestly that's why they chose it.
Man, that makes a lot of sense. I sometimes I feel like in animation they should be able to. It's just like it's just as expensive to draw like 1 billion people than it is 2 people. But it's true. It's not. Yeah, that it could be as simple as that.
Unless you're George Perez, and then you can draw as many people on the panel as you want.
Well, if you remember, the last animated special that we watched was the Evil of the Daleks, the Second Doctor story.
Right.
And that had a ton of characters in it.
It's true.
And, and it took, forever. And some of it you could tell where they repeated some of the drawings also because of it.
Yeah, I just hope that, like I said, there's there's all sorts of, I don't know how the idea of this continuing is not guaranteed at all. I've seen everything from like, this is the last one to, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be whatever, that kind of thing. And I think that's just so tragic and sad. We have, and especially since we're at the point now where it's only like a handful of ones that they need to do to finish. Like,
well, but it's interesting too, because I remember they had solicited that they were coming out with Wheel in Space, which is the second Doctor story with the Cybermen, and the first one was Zoe. And basically, I ordered it and then it was canceled. I think it did come out in the UK though, if I'm correct.
I know there is a recreation. It's not really an animation, but there is a recreation of it that's been on BritBox.
Right.
And I don't think they've animated that. I know Abominable Snowman is on the calendar. That might be the last one we get under the current plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking it up right now, so keep on talking.
I didn't know that Abominable Snowman was missing. I thought that was not one of the missing ones, but
they have one or two episodes.
Gotcha.
Most of them are missing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know. I remember they were talking about animating that one. But I thought, is that really still on to be animated? Because they were saying they were going to cancel the rest of them.
But I think Abominable Snowman was already in the process of being done. So I think they are going to follow through with Abominable Snowman.
Well, I know that the U.S. releases have been really spotty when it comes to these as well. And I don't know. I just hope that somehow they're able to work out something with, like I said, Big Finish or BritBox or somebody to get the rest of these made, because I think having a complete set of Doctor stories, and this is the only way they can really bring those other stories to life at this point. And if something is found later on, then you can release a live action version and everybody goes, woo! But
special edition.
At least exactly. At least they have that option. But I think, for a lot of us, I don't know. I don't know what the demand is. I wish it was more, but maybe there's just not as much demand for Classic Who as we would like. Maybe we're in the minority when it comes to Doctor Who fans.
I think there's a steady but predictable demand. They know the number of people that's interested. They know pretty much how much they're going to sell. So it makes it easy to produce the right number of copies. But I don't think it's ever going to be top of the chart sales either here or in the UK, especially the original, the old series.
Exactly.
I know that some of the animated ones are available on BritBox and some of them are not. I think it just depends on the animation company or something. I don't know the rights, but certainly having them all available on streaming would be a good thing too.
Several of them are available on Amazon. You have to buy them, but you can buy the streaming version.
Right. Yeah, this is the first time I bought it through Amazon, and it's one that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it ever, but it's at least nice that it has that option.
Well, and there's also fans who are completists too, who want it for their series. Yeah, I'm the same way,
Yeah. I need that spot on my bookshelf. I need Galaxy 4 right there, and hopefully one day I'll have the Myth Makers to put after it.
Exactly.
I don't think they've done any box sets Blu-ray for the first or second Doctor yet, right?
No.
So until they really fix these holes, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think they really can.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So it'll probably never happen.
They could just about do the second season. The only thing they're missing there is a couple episodes of the Crusades. There is audio adaptions of the two missing episodes. So if they don't plan to animate them, they could just about do the second season, I believe.
It'd be very interesting to see. Because I know, like, the first season, Marco Polo's the big, hole that's missing.
I am stunned that one hasn't been done yet, just because I'm like, I know so many Doctor Who fans want to see that one. And
that's the one you always hear about that people want.
And I'm just like, why haven't they produced that? Because it seems like that would get a lot of people's attention.
Well, it's interesting. The two that I always hear that, they want to have made, of course, Marco Polo, like we just mentioned, but also the Highlanders.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'd introduced Jamie.
Right.
Yep. And it would be really nice to do that while Fraser is still with us.
Mm-hmm. So they can have him do, commentary
and bonus stuff. Yeah.
He's not getting any younger, folks. Come on.
None of us are.
No.
I can tell you that for certain as of yesterday.
But,
yes, Mr. Birthday Boy.
Yeah.
It is kind of a coin toss. I mean, when we do meet other Doctor Who fans, most of them have been introduced to Doctor Who by the new series, of course. Which in itself is now getting it's well over 10, 15 years old, right?
Over 15 years, yeah.
So now we're getting to a point where there's a generation that's seeing New Who as classic. But, it seems like we're meeting a lot of people when we meet Doctor Who fans that like New Who, and very few of them have gone back. But there are some that will do that, but it is difficult to find them.
Yeah. So I totally understand that. So back to Galaxy 4.
Yes.
Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one?
That high-pitched shrill was not necessary.
No.
And every time we saw
got old.
we had a 1.5-minute shot of the Chumbly going up and down and holding this communication device in its claw. Every freaking time it was way too long.
They were really trying to fill in time there.
Yeah, there were times where it was I don't know whether they were doing something visually that we just couldn't see, and the animators were I don't know how to fill this, so they were doing whatever, but they could have trimmed that, I think. But yeah, the high-pitched shrill was not necessary. My cats were what is that? And I was I had to, yeah. So that was not fun. But
all right, 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Matt, you go first. You're the guest.
Well, I want to be generous because I love old Who, even at its worst. I actually preferred the version of the story that was on the Aztec Special Edition DVD when they had found the missing episode. They have a shortened version, thank goodness, shortened recap of the other episodes, and it makes the story go so much better. So the story I would give a 2.5, maybe this particular version a 2 out of 5.
Okie doke, 2.5. Yeah. Mike, follow that up.
That 2.5 is exactly the halfway point between 1 and 5. So that's fair. This is not horrible. As Matt said, this is not the worst Doctor Who story, classic or otherwise. Still better than Chibnall? I don't know. That's a discussion for another time.
That'll always be the bar from now on.
Exactly, I know. Had to get a dig in him somewhere, in this episode. We were very slack and not ragging on Chibnall more. But really, the companions are forgettable, and really, I think the Doctor has a cool moment at the end where he talks about something, and I wish we could get just a break from all this violence or whatever. But apart from that, he doesn't really. It's not the Doctor at his best. It's not the first Doctor at his best. It's not any Doctor at his best, and so this is very skippable. It's not bad, but it's not great. So 2.5 for me as well.
Okay, Mary.
I don't think I'm even going to go as high as 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 2, and I almost gave it a 1.5, but I'll be generous and give it a 2. I mean, my first reaction after it was over was, well, there's 2 hours I'm never going to get back. I thought it was pretty bad, mostly because the writing is not the worst I've ever seen, but it is so pedestrian. I mean, it is just... there is no conflict. There is no conflict that you care about, no characters that you really care about, including the companions who are just there.
Oh, if Stephen would have died, I would have been oh well.
Yeah, exactly. You're okay, whatever. And, the Doctor is not at his best in this one. So, I would tell people to skip it. I really would. If you want to just kind of get it for completeness purposes, I understand. Maybe watch it once. I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
No, I don't think so. Not at all. Okay. For me, Damn it. I don't want to have to agree with you guys with the 2.5. No, I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to give it a solid 3. Story was very weak. Could have been cut down by 2 episodes at least. And truthfully, I'm giving it an extra half point, though, to make it up to 3 because I did, the effort they took with the animation. And I give effort to that anytime they animate something. It's a ton of work, and I know what it's like to do. So I'm going to give it a solid 3. I enjoyed it, and I watched it. It's going to go up on my bookshelf, and if anyone wants to borrow it, they are more than welcome. So definitely. So let's go wrap up this episode for tonight. I really appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Of course, Mr. Matt Sweatman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, as always. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
Awesome. And Mr. Mike Gordon.
As always, it's my pleasure.
And Mary Ogle.
Thank you for having me. Always love talking to you guys.
Anything you want to promote?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. And Matt, I know your wife is now part of a podcast.
That is true. She is co-hosting with Chuck and Veronica, Monkeying Around. It is a podcast about the monkeys, and she is doing a fabulous job there. I can't be more proud of her.
She is doing an amazing job. It's her first podcast, and they basically threw everything on her. So, which is pretty awesome. And I think she is doing great. And, you might be hearing Monkey Around soon coming to a certain podcast network that we know and love. So you never know. Could happen. Coming also soon, I might as well speak about it now, is our next episode. And we are going to be joined by the ESO movie gal herself, Ashley Pauls. She is going to be joining us next time, and she has chosen for us to watch, ready for this, folks, The Shakespeare Code. It's going to be awesome. We're going to actually be talking about Dr. Ten and Martha. So we haven't done one of those in quite some time.
Yeah, it does seem like forever.
Yeah, so because we've done Dr. and Rose and we've done Dr. and Donna, but we haven't done the Dr. and Martha. So I thought, because she gave me a couple different ones, and I said, let's do this one. And so it was like, perfect. So we are going to be talking all about that one, and, definitely looking forward to everyone joining us then. Of course, you can find us up on, Twitter. We have a great Facebook group, folks. Definitely, please join into the discussion. We put memes up there, any Doctor Who news. I think we were one of the first up there to actually post about Neil Patrick Harris. So, come on, folks. Why not join in all the fun? You might actually learn something or, talk to your favorite Whovians. So definitely check us out up on Facebook as Earth Station Who, a Doctor Who podcast. So you definitely could find us up there. And I think eventually we will have an Instagram for this show. I think it's probably going to be a good idea to do. And, if you want to listen to older episodes, you could also go to earthstationwho.com to check out our podcast, listen to some of the older episodes where we talk about all kinds of fun Whovian stuff. So until next week, my name is Mike Faber. On behalf of myself, Mr. Mike Gordon, Mr. Matt Sweatman, and, of course, Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you for joining us. We are so happy to have you guys here with us, and we'll see you here next time on the Earth Station Who podcast. Peace, and we are done. Boom.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.